All right, good evening and welcome. You are watching the Zone Blitz by NFL Female. We are the weekly Tuesday night webcast bringing you the latest in NFL news. So stay tuned in every Tuesday night. And also check out our website, www.nflfemale.com, and check out all the latest and greatest articles by all of our women who cover not only the 32 NFL teams, but the divisions. And I covered the entire NFL for NFL Female, and I am Sharona. And as always, I am joined by one of my wonderful co-hosts. Kate could not be with us tonight. She had a situation arise with her daughter. So we hope it sounds like everything's going to be okay, and we're going to miss her. She'll be back with us next week. So it's me and Sonja tonight. Sonja, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm getting there. But
we have a lot to talk about with Sonja's Detroit Lions tonight.
Yes, we do. I've got my Rory hat on.
We love your hat.
And I got my jersey on, so, we'll talk.
When Sonja joined the camera, though, she came in a blaze of glory, and there was light. It was like a halo light around her, and the spotlight was on her, and I was like, "It's Tina Turner! Oh my God!"
It was Tina Turner. Proud Mary, keep on rolling.
Keep on rolling, baby. I was telling Lisa and Sonja off camera before we got started that it's so awesome that they're both on here tonight, because I just did one of my weekly NFL Female articles, and it was about the Dolphins and the Lions. So let's get our guest Lisa in here and get going. There's a lot to talk about.
All right.
Hey, Lisa, tell us, everybody, where you are, who you are, and, all that good stuff.
I am Lisa Johnson. I am the official fan reporter for the Miami Dolphins, situated down here in beautiful South Florida right now. So things got a little bit better yesterday for us down here. So the weather is nice and clear skies right now. So.
In case you're wondering how Lisa feels about the news. Well, if you've been living under a rock and you don't pay attention to the NFL like most normal people do, the Miami Dolphins have moved on. The Joe Philbin era is officially over in Miami, and there was some, as sometimes happens, there was a little bit of drama involving Joe Philbin. Even as he was getting fired, did the team leave him in London? I mean, they had to fire him by phone. Lisa, fill us in.
No, I don't. I don't think so. I mean, it's not that bad of an organization to do something like that.
They did fire him by phone, though.
Yeah, I think he knew it was coming. I'm one of these people. I kind of think that Joe Philbin's, as a man, as a guy, he's a decent guy. I had a pleasure of meeting him several times. Matter of fact, I just met him at training camp this year, and had a chance to sit down and talk to him and stuff like that. And I mean, as far as character, I mean, this guy's just one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to sit and talk to. It just goes deeper than Joe Philbin in the organization. This organization isn't just the head coach, guys. I mean, it's going to go a little bit deeper, and there's going to be some issues that are going to have to be worked out. But, as watching the statements that he put out, and beautiful statement thanking the fans and stuff, you almost kind of felt bad, because being a head coach in this league can't be the easiest thing in the whole world. I mean, he gave a lot to this organization. And like I said, I personally thank the guy. I mean, I think he did give everything he had, but it just didn't work out, whether it's personnel, players, whatever. But, Ross gave, he got a nice package. I mean, he got an extension. He's going to get paid for the next 2 years, So, I mean, the guy, and Ross, like I said, let him go very nicely, nice statements. And then shortly right after, I think Adam Schefter broke the news, I think early that morning, that, it looked like Dan Campbell, our tight ends coach, would be elevated to, head coach. And it was just funny to me because at that time, being as close to the NFL as all of us are and our teams and stuff like that, how the emotions that Dan Campbell must have felt at that moment. Here you are, just a tight ends coach. You're in London. You're doing your thing. You're hearing the rumors, I'm sure. Like I said, you don't live in a rock. I know these coaches and stuff say they don't listen to the news, but please, you have to. Come on.
Exactly.
Their agents certainly do.
tap on the shoulder and the nod that, look, you're our guy, you're going to be our interim head coach. What kind of emotions could this guy have been feeling at that time? I mean, all of a sudden, you're a head coach for the Miami Dolphins, you know. You know, so like I said, it was a little bit of a whirlwind down here yesterday. You know, it was a breath of fresh air, you know, and I talked to the Finsiders yesterday, and, you know, the question of the day was, you know, how are fans feeling? I swear to God, it was like a kid on Christmas morning down here yesterday. Fans were talking to each other, civil. There wasn't arguments. There wasn't, you know, because usually these Mondays are horrible. I mean, fans are, you know, arguing with each other, and it's just frustration. Everybody's frustrated. You know, everybody thinks they have the answers, you know.
Yeah.
You know, exactly. You know, but like I said, I don't think it was all Joe Philbin. I know we had talked about yesterday a little bit about coaching changes early in the season, but when you look at the coaching change and the timing was fine, and the timing was perfect because we're going into our bye. We have two very winnable games coming up. You know, we play Tennessee and we play Texas. You know, teams that are under 500 also. So, you know, we have two very winnable games. So I think with the organization looking at the schedule coming up and trying to save some face, I kind of felt like they needed to make a change, and they did too. And so, you know, Joe Philbin was let go, and now Dan Campbell's the head coach, and now we got Kevin coordinator and Bill Lazor. I mean, if you talk to some people say he's not safe. You know, so like I said, so a lot of other stories breaking down. Tomorrow is supposed to be another big day down here. Supposedly they're supposed to kind of, you know, discuss whether Coyle is going to stay on for the year. Several media reports coming out today was that we reached out to Jim Swartz. You know, Sonja's very familiar with Jim. The Swartz.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Sharona is too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. As is Buffalo. You know, geez, if you look at Buffalo's defense, I mean, last year, I mean, he pretty much put that defense together for Rex Ryan, if you know, honestly.
Yeah.
So, but apparently, you know, whether it was, I mean, multiple reports are going saying that they flew out there, they went to his house, so that they just kind of gauged his interest to see if he was interested in you know, coming down here and you know, coaching the defense up. And I gather he respectively declined and is happy working with the NFL officiating systems right now. So tomorrow will be a big day down here. Whether Tannenbaum has the controls or Dan Campbell has the controls, they're all kind of saying it's Dan Campbell's decision whether he wants to keep the coordinators. You know, problem is I just don't know who else would step into the role. I don't. You know, that's the thing.
Be really hard to get guy. It's hard to blame Jim Schwartz. Nobody wants to come in. You know, we're headed into week 5. It's, you know, he wouldn't be running his system. You do not install a new system during the season. So I would suspect that it's going to be it's going to be really hard to get a coordinator in here. They'll probably have to roll with what they have. I want to go back to one thing that you said, Lisa. Now, I wrote today, and Phil, I mean, you know, we disagree on this show a lot. Right. I thought that the Dolphins did make a mistake in the timing, but it's because, and it's not necessarily Joe Philbin's fault again, but I thought that they should have fired Joe Philbin and entirely cleaned house after the bullying report was released. When you saw the issues that the locker room was having, when you got the curtain got pulled back and you got a glimpse into it. And again, Joe Philbin didn't necessarily cause those problems, but with his coaching style and his demeanor, I don't know that he was capable of being that guy to correct them.
Right. Well, and then it goes along with my statement when I first said it goes deeper than Joe Philbin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And explain to everybody out there the situation with the front office and what's going on with Stephen Ross and all of that.
Right. And basically when we brought Hickey on, and, you know, and we went through that little debacle of the GM searches, you know, well, you know, and it was the big joke. Well, nobody wants to be the GM of the Miami Dolphins. Nobody, you know, Farmer was tapped and he declined. The New England Patriots, assistant GM, he declined. And then we pick up Dennis Hickey off from Tampa. Dennis comes in, and immediately you kind of almost saw a little bit of a better draft this year with Dennis. You saw, Landry. I mean, can't say enough about Jarvis Landry. I mean, some of the moves that Hickey put. And then we go through the Richie Incognito after the Richie Incognito thing, and then we bring in Mike Tannenbaum out of nowhere. Out of right field, here comes Mike Tannenbaum. Immediately, the turmoil again to me started, because once again it started questioning who's in charge there, who's calling the shots, who's actually running the show.
Isn't there a woman involved too, Dawn Aponte?
She does the money. She does all the all the contracts and stuff like that. So it kind of baffles me that some of these guys on Twitter just kind of include her, and I'm like, I've had debates, and good Lord, you know how it is debating with these men on Twitter about Dawn, and it's like, okay, she does the contract structurals and pretty much looks at the guys and says, yes, we can afford him. Let's try to restructure this guy. No, we can't afford this guy. How the hell is that making decisions? All she's doing is telling them whether we can afford the guy and manipulating the cap to try to sign players like Sue, try to bring talent here, try to restructure so we can get players in, So, I mean, I don't blame Dawn. I don't understand what influence they think she has. But, I mean, when you listen to the press conference yesterday, when they announced Dan Campbell as the coach, it was Mike Tannenbaum's show. So you're pretty much understanding that Dennis Hickey's probably just running talent evaluations and stuff like that, and Mike Tannenbaum's running the ship right now, if I took my guess.
Okay.
But, I mean, I will disagree with the timing with you. Like I said, I thought same thing with you. I thought he should have been cleaned house last year. But the problem is, when you listen to it, this is our second year going in with the same coaching staff, same personnel. How bad can that be? Continuity's still going to be there. We plugged a couple things that they thought was the issue. So I kind of accepted it for that fact. But then once the wheels fell off, and Joe was just the same lumdrum guy, and to me, attitude reflects leadership, and that's what we got out there. Our leader is just a guy that's so mellow and laid back, and I mean, he's a Tony Dungy type, if you really want to say it. I think Tony Dungy actually had a little bit more emotion on the sidelines than this guy shows. So. But, I mean, we had Sperano down here, too. He was the most fired-up coach. I mean, who fist pumps for field goals?
Dave Wannstedt.
So, I mean, I started laughing because the people need to be careful what they pay for. Just because you have a explosive coach doesn't mean you're going to put the W on the board.
Yeah. Well, I completely agree with that. Absolutely.
So.
Yeah.
So, do you think that your tight ends coach, if he does well enough, will actually get the job, or do you think that they're just using him as a stopgap right now, and then once the season's over, we'll really get a good look and see who might be out there as the coaching carousel starts to spin, as always?
I mean, when you look at it, I mean, you already start thinking about coaches for next year. I mean, it's already being debated everywhere. I certainly think this is a Dan Campbell's, interview to me. I mean, as Stephen Ross has said, that he, will evaluate Dan Campbell and, consider him coaching material at the end of the year. So, I mean, Dan Campbell has an audition, and these next couple of games and how the players, if you talk to a lot of people down here, the players like him, the players respond to him, whether he can light a fire under their butts and get them to perform. That's the thing. I mean, and it's so funny is it's when things happen, people get fired. All of a sudden you start hearing the things. Well, all our practices were soft. The players didn't like Joe Philbin's practices. It's like, okay, all of a sudden we start hearing all the dirt.
Right.
The Tannehill stories breaking now. And so that's pitting the Ryan Tannehill lovers against the Ryan Tannehill haters. So it's like the debacle going back and forth about him. And so, like I said, it just starts a whole wheel of flurry of activity down here in Dolphins thing. And I honestly think the Ryan Tannehill story was broke just to kind of say, look, there's still turmoil within this organization. But then when you look at define turmoil, I mean, these are guys that are practicing, and you can go back to the this is practice. It's practice. You know, we're going to sit here, we're going to argue and fight over a practice. You know,
yes.
And who really cares if he said you're a practice squad paycheck? Do I care? I don't care. You know, just put the ball where the damn ball's supposed to be. Your ball placement is horrible. You still have problems with your accuracy. You know, Tannehill knows what he needs to work on. He doesn't need us to tell him. I mean, it's right on film. Anybody can see it. And he practically killed our tight end in the first game when he almost, overthrew him like that. And our offensive line is horrible right now. We didn't do a thing to address that in the offseason. The guy's running for his life out there, which, of course, is going to throw timing patterns off. But you know something, guys? You don't need an offensive line to throw a fade into the pattern. You do a 3-step drop and you put the ball in the back of the end zone. This guy can't hit that for the life of him, So, and there's been plenty of times where he's had times where he's thrown the ball to the outside shoulder when it's supposed to be led inside. So, and everybody in the just short, and honestly, I love Calvin Johnson, Sonja, I do. There's not many receivers in the NFL that can pivot their bodies to adjust to a badly placed ball like Calvin Johnson does. We don't have a Calvin Johnson down here. We have guys that can try, but, and then all of a sudden the fans are all over them like, well, he got his hands on the ball. But you don't realize he's pivoting his body 80 degrees in the opposite, So there's not many wide receivers that can do that or tight ends. So, you know what? When you look at the Ryan Tannehill, and then you worry, because I do think there is a situation down here where we signed a guy that I personally think we should not have signed right away till we kind of saw that was brought in for a Mike Sherman run type option. And you guys know this run option's not working out too well in the NFL. The only one it's working out for is Russell Wilson because the guy's running for his life.
Yeah, and it's really hard to compare different teams. What the Seattle Seahawks can do doesn't translate to what the Miami Dolphins can do because the personnel is different. It's just different.
Right.
Different systems. I mean, and then we go into the system guys, and that's the problem. Ryan Tannehill was a Mike Sherman system guy. He's not a Bill Lazor system guy. He's not a pro-style ready quarterback right now. So, I mean, he's still got a long way to go to me, and, wasn't worth the money. And that's just me. I just think he's an Alex Smith. I think he's average. And the thing is, I've said this from day one. I've said it since he came out of college. I mean, when you look at the guys coming out of college, and I think, Sharona, you watch a lot of college ball. I watch a lot of college ball. I mean, I watch Ryan Tannehill come in A&M, and when you look at his back pattern at A&M, he couldn't win the starting spot 2 years in a row. He was demoted to a wide receiver just to stay on the team.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this is picked in the first round.
He was definitely overdrafted in my opinion, and I agree with you. And I think we talked about that last season, Lisa, that that we both felt it was premature to pay the guy, and unfortunately a lot of the Dolphins' issues are self-inflicted.
Yep, and like I said, that's not on your head coach. That's the problem.
Right.
So.
But the big thing, I think, is with so much talent on the defensive side of the football, they are inept on defense.
I was about to say, the best way to
they
put
should
it.
not be.
Thank you. You're kind. That was a very kind statement. I mean, because when you look at the preseason, I mean, our front four were projected to be the top five in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I'm not mistaken, I think we're 30th. If not,
probably.
Yeah, I think we're definitely either 30, 31, 30. We're even 30, 31, and 32. But last time I thought it was 30. And I think I think we have one sack. You look at the numbers and I would have never ever thought this defense would have played like that ever. And I mean, and when you look at it, and what's funny is. I went to the Jacksonville game, and the first thing, and I'm not kidding you, the first thing I noticed, almost every single Dolphin player was sitting on the bench. Every single player. There was no energy. There was no enthusiasm. There was no fire. There was nothing. It was like we were watching a dead team. I mean, they were just sitting on the bench. We look over to the Jacksonville Jaguars sidelines, same thing. They were up. They were, I mean, not same thing, but just the opposite. They were up. There wasn't like one player sitting on the bench. They were all standing behind Gus. They were all high-fiving each other. They were jacked up, you know, and I'm thinking, okay, it's a home game. So then we come home. We come to Buffalo. They came out. I have never seen this team come out of a tunnel so lame in my entire life. Nothing to them. Absolutely nothing to them. Same thing. They go to the bench after the national anthem's done. This is our home opener. You know, this is our new stadium, our home opener. The Buffalo Bills, AFC East division rivalries. Every single player after the national anthem is set for special teams that we're going to kick off sat down on the bench. It's just
that's ridiculous. Not a good look at all.
I was about to say that's not a good look.
And I'm sorry, I've gone to these games for 25 plus years. I can feel the energy of a team when you see them. You know, looking on that field, these guys are ready to go. This is the lamest team I've ever seen the Dolphins be. They were lame. They just sit on the bench. I mean, they're barely talking to each other. You know, it's just ridiculous. It's just totally ridiculous. You know, Dan Campbell, if he can, you know, I started laughing and I started joking on Twitter. First thing I do, I swear, is I take the benches out. Every single player would stand. Every single one of them.
I like it.
Coach Lisa.
There's not a bench on that sidelines unless your ass is hurt or you're getting carted into the care center.
Just put a bunch of bicycles over there, and if they want to sit down, they can ride a bike.
They can ride. Yep, they can ride their stationary bike. Do sprints on the sidelines.
Funny. So, let's say Dan Campbell. I meant to say this earlier. I think one of the concerns that you have, and Dan Campbell, tight ends coach, has never been a coordinator, has never been a head coach, and this is something that we saw here in Tennessee when the Titans hired their offensive line coach to be the head coach. He was a guy with an impressive pedigree, but he had never been in that position to make the connects necessary to have those guys on tap, and B, to be a guy to manage the situation. Do you have any of those concerns?
You know, I don't, because you know what, I've gone through it down here before. You know, I've done it with Todd Bowles being our interim head coach. You know, and the players love Todd. I mean, you got a tremendous, you know, amount of respect for the players for Todd, and they campaign for him at the end of the year. However, I think with Todd, I think it was just a little bit too soon for him. It's hard to judge Dan because it's like I said, it's like all of a sudden you're a tight ends coach and all you're tapping. The head coaching system, the head coach of the NFL, any NFL team, it always reminds me of the presidency. These dudes age 10 years.
Seriously.
You know, they do, because the amount of pressure that is going to be on him is going to be tremendous. You know, he's going to want to, perform. I mean, and now you know that, you know, he's driven now. He has a chance to be a head coach in the National Football League. You know, I think it can be overwhelming. I think it will be overwhelming for a little bit. It's a tough job. And a lot of times these guys give, you know, it's 24 hours in a day. A lot of times they're giving 22 of it to the teams and getting things prepared and ready. And, you know, to get it to where his liking is, you know, it's hard to judge him because I don't know where his likings are. I mean, he's a total opposite of Philbin. So there's going to be a lot of change, you know, over the weeks. So, you know, like I said, that first game, I think the first game is going to be the telltale when we're up in Tennessee, to be honest with you. You know, to see how the players respond to him, to see, you know, what he's brought to the system. You know, and like you said, Sharona, it's going to be interesting to see how mentally tough he's going to have to be because, I mean, this job, it's a stressful job. And any head coach will tell you, I mean, I don't think their wives see them, 2 or 3 hours out of the week. You know, and it's going to be the same thing for him now. He's going to be in a little bit more of a, you know, leadership role, and these guys are going to have to respect him. And the coaching chain, you know, it's all about systems. The guys gel together, you know, so it'll be interesting. But I do have concerns about it, you know, so, but, you know, we'll see. It's definitely going to be a learning. You know, Todd Bowles, if you hear him, it was definitely a good step for him. It was a great experience for him, and it'll be a great experience for Dan Campbell, regardless of whether, you know, he stays on or moves on.
Who's on your coaching wish list?
Oh, who's on my coaching wish list? You know, I just kind of started talking about it today. You know, I love Kevin Summerlin from Texas A&M. You know, I would love to see, you know, even though we had that Nick Saban debacle, I mean, Summerlin, you know, Antoine and I talked about it. I like him. He's a Mike Tomlin type of guy to me. You know, I love the way he rallies the troops and stuff like that. I like his system he runs there at Texas A&M. If I had to go college, I would say him. The pros, you know what? I'll say this, and I don't know his name, and maybe somebody. You know who I would love to give a shot to, and I know it's going to get killed for this. The Patriots defensive coordinator, the big heavy guy that's losing weight to try to be a head coach. I think he would be. I do. I don't know his name, but you know they did a big thing on him, and you know a lot of and you hate to say it, but a lot of teams have passed him up and hadn't considered him because of his appearance, and I think that's wrong. I mean, Tony Sparano's a little fat dude, and we gave him a shot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, but it's funny is if you look at him next time you see the Patriots play and they show him, his beard's kind of trimmed up. He's kind of looked like he's slimming down a little bit. So, you know, I think he's looking for a run. I mean, I would love the Dolphins to take a look at him.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though the Bill Belichick coaching tree hasn't flourished too well.
No, but you know something. When you look at here's the difference, and it was funny, is regardless of whether it was a practice, let's just, I'm gonna use this as an example. It's an example, so don't kill me on Twitter here for this. When you look at Dante,
now you're asking the impossible.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get in trouble here with the Ryan Tannehill thing. When you look at the Dolphins organization, you look at the way Belichick disciples and even Belichick runs defenses and the offenses. It is almost kind of funny where Dante Stallworth came out with a tweet saying Tom Brady actually paid his cornerbacks and stuff if they could intercept him during practice. Now, I know it's a full practice, but you know what? I'd love to see that mentality down here in Miami, to be honest with you. There's your difference. I would love to see that. But you would never get that with a Joe Philbin. Joe Philbin would not have allowed that to happen. But I think it creates competition. I think it creates excitement. I think it gives the guys extra drive to have fun together, and you know, I'd love to see that down here. But
I think that the NFL has to be careful about that, though, because there are, you know,
fun stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it has to be not. It has to be. It in a way is, and it's not really the same thing, but you know, there are salary cap rules for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And but I agree. I mean, I like the idea of having that camaraderie and that, you know, as long as it's not. I think Jim Irsay one year, didn't he give the players like Xboxes or something like that? And as long as it's stuff like that, it's not a big thing.
Quarterbacks give their linemen watches and chairs. And,
yeah, right.
You know,
exactly. Mm-hmm.
You know, it like you said, does that camaraderie? A team's together. You know, and the slogan "Stronger Together" down here is just ridiculous because there's nothing stronger together about these guys. So.
Girl, I just have one more thing, and then I've got to. We were talking about attitude reflects leadership, which, by the way, was totally the Remember the Titans quote that I put in my article today. But speaking of which, as I was watching the game last night, and I was paying attention to Megatron because the offense was so bad, and I came away from that game, Sonja, with the sense that Megatron is so over Matt Stafford he can't stand it.
I got that feeling a couple of times. I got a couple of looks out of Mr. Johnson, and yeah, I think
They
he's a
showed him on
little
the
bit over.
sideline once, and I was like, "Woo!"
Hmm.
He
But
mad.
I don't think I've ever seen him look like that. To be honest, I
Oh,
don't. I don't think I've seen it that often
yeah.
because they have been throwing the ball to him in the past. So I don't know where the disconnect is. I really don't.
Their offense last night was just so it was so weird that Seattle gets this reputation of being conservative and they don't throw the ball and yada 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 yada. Detroit was not throwing the ball down the field. Matt Stafford was. It was really short to intermediate
Mhm.
throws, and
Mhm.
I think the longest completion was to Tim Wright,
Yes.
who's the tight end. And there's a lot of things wrong with the Detroit Lions. But I think ultimately that team's problems go to the quarterback position. I think that is
Mhm.
their main problem.
And that is what everybody will tell. Well, not everybody, but because there are a few Stafford defenders out there, but there are also, I think there are probably obviously more Stafford non-defenders out there, and his wife is starting to get all pissy again. So
Oh
there's
yeah, ooh,
that.
mark out on her social media.
Yeah, no, she's not on Twitter anymore because one of the people I follow kind of got mad at her, and then she stopped Twitter. Now she's on Instagram, kind
Instagram.
of. Yeah, she's posting some stuff. So it's wearing to her. It's getting to her. It's getting to her, and So
Well,
I'm
now
like,
the Dolphins didn't pay Tannehill nearly as much as the Lions paid Stafford, though, if I recall correctly.
right. I don't think they did. Stafford is, I mean, for what he's accomplished or lack thereof, he's getting paid a pretty penny. And is it? It's just hard to say. It's hard to say. Is it truly him? Yeah, it is. I mean, bottom line, he's not as good as a quarterback as we thought. And can he? I mean, he's got the talent. The talent is there. If he can, actually throw it consistently down the field for those big gains, then yeah, he's good. Does the lack of a run game also kind of bring that out as well? Of course, I think so. Because, I mean, I think they rushed for what, 53 yards yesterday, which is a season high.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
On the ball.
yeah,
They did. I will say that. They are
scary.
trying to commit more to the run, but then you get to the offensive line. And what?
I still love your running back. I think he's going to be a stud for you guys.
Yeah.
I really
Hmm.
like that
Hmm. Oh, I think so. And I think as hopefully the season goes on and as the O-line kind of matures and grows together, because they kind of are a hodgepodge group if you look at it. They all haven't, like, there have been a lot of injuries the past couple of
Mm-hmm.
years, and they haven't really played cohesively and collectively as a group yet. And so,
Yeah.
Adrian Waddle and Warford, they've been kind of rotating in and
Yeah.
out of the
Well,
lineup.
Warford was even out this week, and
Hmm.
he's your best offensive lineman in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. Totally. He is. And so, you've got just this young group essentially coming together for the first time really this year. And I don't know, maybe, hopefully you see improvement as the season goes on. Therefore, opening up the run game and allowing Amir Abdullah to do what we drafted him to do. And then you also saw a little bit the emergence of the undrafted rookie Zach Zenner, which,
Mm-hmm.
yay, that was kind of a nice little thing. So, if we can get those two guys to open up, I think a little bit more, maybe that's what Joe Lombardi's waiting for, the run game to kind of come along so that he can free Stafford, so to speak.
Yeah, the Dolphins, the Lions chose Matt Stafford over Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh now with the Miami Dolphins. Still up to his old shenanigans, Lisa. And I want you to know that Mr. Ndamukong Suh is not fooling Sharona.
But I guess my question is,
the referee system. Come on, they looked at him. They looked at the film.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, they did. Yes, they did.
I mean,
I understand. I do. Trust you know I understand. But here's my question, though. And it's not really a Miami question. It's more of a, okay, so he had these two questionable incidents, and, you know, the league just kind of like, yeah, not a big deal.
Just this year.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
We're not even talking about the Aaron Rodgers and yada, yada, yada.
Exactly. So it's like, was there something wrong with it while he was in Detroit?
look,
I don't know.
I have a theory.
What's your theory?
I have a theory in all of this because I was thinking about it before I came on with you ladies. You know, because I was also watching, I forgot, Pro Football Tonight Sports. And with social media, replays, and stuff like that, we're all old school, 80s football, 70s, 80s football. These guys did a lot worse than what these guys are doing that are getting caught.
Exactly.
Replay and stuff, okay? But today it broke that Odell Beckham was punching the Buffalo Bill players as he was going down. I mean, at some point it gets ridiculous because it's like it's still, you know, and you just got to be careful because you know what? He is under the microscope. Honestly, I mean, the league's watching this guy. You know, I mean, he's, you know, Heath Evans went off after the Jacksonville game saying, you know, but when I looked at the film too, it looked like he generally kind of tripped over the guy, you know. But it's hard because it's like with these replays and stuff like that, and the guy's whining and crying like little top corner babies out there now. You know, he hit my finger. I went to get the ball and he bit my finger. You know, I mean, come on. You know, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. You have to let these guys play to an extent. You know, so
yes,
I mean, and look at the guys coming up with red eyes. I mean, you know, they're gouging eyes down there and you know, doing everything they can. So I mean, I honestly, and I have to be very honest with you, I didn't look at the recent one that you're talking about. The only one I looked at was the Jags one that the NFL said they looked at. Also, the one that Heath Evans moved off the handle about, and the guy needs to be kicked out of the league. You know, Heath Evans is a Dolphin hater because we got his ass, and he's hated us ever since we did. So, you know, I don't take anything he says about the Dolphins seriously because, you know, he just loves the Dolphin and the Eagles fans. But, you know, he's being watched in the NFL watching, and like I said, if they came back and said, yes, he intentionally did that, I'd own up to it and say, you know what, you don't need to be doing that and get caught.
Right.
Well, I think the problem is that, or at least part of the problem is that we're not playing football in the 70s, and if the NFL is sincerely going to care about player safety, and you know these guys are making, you know, buttload more money than those guys were making, and it's their livelihood, and you know, a season-ending injury because Ndamukong Suh is acting like Ndamukong Suh and pretending like he's not doing it on purpose, but he really is, which is what's going on. And, you know, kicking a guy or whatever. You know, I mean, that's a guy's livelihood. And he's doing it by being extra special. You understand that injuries are part of the game and what happens on the football field. But when the play's over and he's strolling past a guy and kicks him, you know, in the side of the head, I mean,
if he gets up and he trips over the guy, that's not an intentional thing. You know, I mean, there's 6, 7 guys trying to get off of the pile, and you know what? If he trips, that's fine. I understand. I mean, if you're walking by somebody, you generally slam them. You should get fined and suspended. I mean, and like you said, that's just nowadays. So,
yeah, but
you know, that can cause
defensive line, and it does happen for sure. But there are defensive linemen in the same situation as Ndamukong Suh, and somehow they manage to avoid constantly stepping on the other quarterback.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back.
Saying.
Like I said, I honestly, you know, it's hard for me to comment. I had to look at it. All I know is that they said that they came. Dean Bendino said that the league did look at it and reviewed it, and no further action will be taken. So I didn't see it. I had just heard about it after. That it happened. So like I said, I had not seen it on video. So
Well, I'm keeping my eye on Mr. Sue. I'm wise to his shenanigans.
And like I said, just where was the? Oh, it was in an
Speaking of
emergency.
penalties and officiating and what have you,
um,
we might have had a little bit of a controversy last night.
we did have a controversy, Sharona. Say it outright. I'm sorry.
The Lions got shafted, man. They just got shafted.
But you know what? Go back to Megatron, and after that happened, I love this guy. I love this guy's character. He said it. You don't, lose the game on officiating. You lose the game because I should have held on to the ball.
He took responsibility, and you do love it. Mm-hmm.
He took responsibility for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and that's Megatron for you. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
And that is 100% right. It sucks. It hurts. It is what happens to Lions. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
It's hard pressed to think about crazy
End
things.
zone.
Yeah.
End zone. That end zone first.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think, though, and we forget this too. Unfortunately, the score doesn't reflect it, but the Lions wouldn't have even been in that situation had it not been for the defensive fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions defense was balling last night.
They were balling. They came to play.
They did.
Russell Wilson, the Lions would have won that game last night. Russell Wilson was the difference, and frustrating the heck out of those defensive. The Lions' defensive players were swarming Russell Wilson.
They were.
He's just elusive. He's just a great athletic quarterback, and they made him fumble the ball. I mean, he lost that ball a lot. Even going out of bounds, they still were getting that ball out of him. So I thought that I'm not upset with my defense at all. My defense balled last night. Ziggy Oscar had an awesome game.
He did.
Play. He just couldn't get him. And that was kind of frustrating too, because it was just like it was really frustrating to watch people like Slay, to watch James Jones just go flying off of him. That was frustrating. So frustrating. But yes, Ziggy Ansah did have a good game. So
James Jones was out there balling out, still healthy so far, going into week 5.
Hey, I just want to ask you one thing. I got in a conversation last night with our former tight end, Randy McMichael. And him and I were kind of talking about tight end play the recent years. Is it tight end play? And I haven't really kind of paid attention in college, but now that I kind of had the conversation with him, where are all the blocking tight ends gone in the NFL? These tight ends, and I think, Sonja, you and I had, when you rewind that play, and I rewound it a couple times, he just wasn't blocking. He didn't engage in the block and was just standing there. And Ravens did the same thing. There's just no blocking tight ends anymore in the NFL. And it's just, I don't know if it's a college thing all of a sudden, if they're just, it's kind of weird. And even John Gruden said it the same way. The Detroit Lions had no blocking tight end. There was no help there on the tight ends. So it was just interesting because when I started talking about it, I started thinking about it, and I was just kind of thinking about what team has the best blocking best NFL tight end, and I started kind of thinking about it.
Well, it's the Dallas Cowboys without question with Jason Witten. But the Tennessee Titans, they likewise, Delaney Walker is an every down tight end. You've got some young guys. It goes to the question that we're seeing not just at tight end, but at quarterback, at cornerback. These guys are coming out of college with not being taught very much in the ways of technique and things of that nature. And so you've got quarterbacks coming into the league that don't know how to read a defense. You've got tight ends. Now there are the guys who played your combination positions like H-back and whatever. Vance McDonald was a guy that came out of I forget where he went to school, but he was a guy that we thought San Francisco was going to be able to replace Delaney Walker, but he had injuries. They're scattered throughout, but yeah, I mean, I agree. It's an issue.
It's yeah, and I also think that I in a way kind of blame the Ron Gronkowskis and the Rob Gronkowskis and the Jimmy Grahams of the world too. Especially Jimmy Graham. Well, I'm not really a tight end. I'm kind of a wide receiver. So I think that that's part of it, and that the offenses are really trying to use tight ends more in the passing game and opening up offenses instead of doing what they really need to do in some cases is just game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and part of it too is the teams are not using fullbacks like they used to, and that's
fullback was obsolete in the NFL now. You don't even hear. Besides the Baltimore Ravens, I don't know many teams that even implement a fullback.
Well, the Titans just drafted one in the fourth round of the NFL draft, so they have one.
I'll have to check that out. Well, we can check them out not this weekend, but next weekend for sure.
My tongue is planted firmly in my cheek because factually that is true, but I clown them mercifully for it. Anyway. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Just putting that out there for y'all.
No, yeah, back to the officiating thing. It's it's a huge issue. Someone said on Twitter, I forget who it was, that part of the whole weirdness about it is the rule that didn't get called. If you fumble the first of all, the rule is dumb. Okay? If you fumble the football out of your opponent's end zone, it automatically becomes a touchback. But if you fumble it anywhere else, it goes out of bounds, the ball gets spotted at the spot of the fumble.
Right.
Which is the way it should be done. But the NFL's got to make it up and it's not just the NFL, but we're NFL. So, but if the ball is intentionally batted out of the end zone, then it's a penalty, and the Lions should have gotten the ball on the 1 yard line. And somebody was saying, well, if they had called it right, people would have been mad. I don't think people would have been mad because I think that they could have explained it, first of all. And it makes sense. You shouldn't penalize the offense because even though somebody fumbles, if the other team bats it out and you can't recover it.
Exactly.
It's a pretty easy rule to understand in that sense.
In that sense, yes, of course it is. But, nothing is going to change until the owners' meetings in the winter. And there you go. So
PFT, Pro Football Talk's been writing about this for a while. It is a dumb rule.
They need to make that review. Anything that can outright affect the game, which, let's be honest, if he had called it correctly, the Lions would have had the ball on the 1 yard line. Now, none of us are genius. They might not even have got it in from the work.
That's right.
We don't know, but
we all know a positive play gets negated by offensive pass interference, false start, holding, anything like that. So for all we know, it could have been 1st and goal from the 35-yard line. Let's not even.
Could have been 1st and goal, and Abdullah could have just gone over the middle and scored, and Detroit would have won. So that to me affects the outcome of the game. His missed call, regardless, and I commend Calvin for stepping up and taking the blame, because you don't want to put the game in the official's hands. However, if you do, that is why they are there.
That is why that rule is there, exactly.
They need to make the correct call. If you have an official that cannot make that correct call, that official needs to be fired, suspended, or put on the sidelines, because he missed that call, and girls, right there. He even went for the flag. Problem, I don't think he knew the rule. I'm going to be honest with you. I think the guy was like, oh, crap, I don't know the rule. I think
Well,
Exactly.
yeah.
And
The
actually,
thing is, a rule has a subjective element to it, and
mhm.
that is the weird thing about the rule. If it's intentionally
oh my
batted.
God, he punched it. How is that?
Well, right? I mean, how it? Yeah, and they were saying
Exactly.
that's why he reached for the flag and he hesitated because it was a judgment call. I don't see how that's a judgment call either, Lisa. I completely agree.
That's a referee and panicked.
Exactly. And actually, Dan Orlovsky had tweeted to one of our beat writers, yeah, one of our Lions insiders, that actually somebody had thrown a flag. They just didn't show it on TV,
Oh,
and it got picked up. So there's
okay.
that, yeah. So there's that as well. So
That makes it even worse.
mm-hmm. Whole bunch of shenanigans.
Wow. Yeah, and then you combine that with, nobody knows what a catch is anymore, and we certainly don't know what pass interference is anymore because the rule book has gotten as complicated as the tax code.
Yes.
Well, I think that, you know what, and I also think it's funny is every single set of referees, umpires that do games. It's funny. It's kind of like you still kind of get to know them. You know the referees that are kind of because I personally think they've kind of eased up on the pass interference a little bit this year. Wasn't as bad as that first year. Remember, it was a flag. I mean, the guy touched his shoulder. It was a flag. Looks like they're letting them play a little bit more to me. That's just my opinion. Looks like it to me. But it's funny is you'll get that set and it's like, okay, it's almost like if you're a player, okay, who's our referees today? Because it almost says,
Right.
won't. You'll know the ones that will. You won't know. You'll know the ones that won't. So that's I kind of find that funny. But you know what? I still, and I don't think we won't ever know. But you got to know that being once again that end zone because that's like NFL Network killed it last night. They kept replaying that Monday night debacle with the Green Bay Packers and the Hail Mary. That's the same end zone. They it again. So it's like, they got to get stuff like that corrected. Stuff like that's got to be reviewable. That's to me. If it affects
It has to be.
it should be reviewable.
Exactly.
All right, Sonja, time for your unsung hero. We got to get that one in here. Who is your unsung hero for the week?
All right. So got, again, maybe one suggestion, but I kind of went this week with Andy Dalton. Random,
Okay.
I know. But again, he's got the Bengals playing pretty daggone good right now. And yes, it is only just the first quarter of the season, but his passer rating right now is the highest it's ever been for his career. He's essentially on his way to having a career year. And, we're not talking about him that much. So, he's playing really well. Granted, yes, he does have a history, and it's the regular season, so it's okay. It's the playoffs when, he starts not being or being the other Andy Dalton. So there's that. But he's got his team at 4-0, and, all that we're really talking about at 4-0 are, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, things like that. But, hey, they're Peyton Manning, that's right. But nobody's really talking about your boy Red. So, Andy Dalton, this week, you're my unsung hero. Yay!
I like it. Andy Dalton propelling me to a fantasy football victory this week while Tom Brady was serving. Oh, I'm sorry. He got away with that. Was on his bye week.
Woo!
Just had to get that one in there.
Of course you did.
So, is Jim Caldwell safe? We've seen the first coaching change, and question for both of you, ladies: which shoe is going to drop next in terms of coaching firings? Prediction.
Caldwell, is he safe? I don't know. I think we have a few more games to see what happens. I don't see us winning against Arizona. Then after that, we have the Bears. I think it depends.
You should beat the Bears.
We should.
Beat the Bears.
We should beat the Bears. And I think this time, I think we have them at home in a couple weeks. So we should beat the Bears. That should be hopefully very winnable. I think if they do not come away with the win, then I think the fire gets turned up under Mr. Caldwell. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, he's in his, what, third season?
Nope, second.
Second. Oh, yeah, okay. He probably is safe, though. He definitely needs to win one soon. They're the last winless team, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, for the 8th time.
Oh, gosh.
In their history.
All right, so who on the hot seat could be next, Lisa?
You know who I'm hearing the rumblings about, honestly, and it's going to break Miss Dana's heart, is Gus Bradley in Jacksonville.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm hearing the rumblings down here and hearing some people talking about him. I mean, you're going into second year with Blake Bortles. You've got, you made some moves on the defense. You got the team you kind of wanted to coach. So, I mean, they should have won that game against Indy, and it sucks for Gus because, you just kind of hope that the internal brass and Mr. Quan there can kind of see that, because that kicker lost that game. 3 kicks he missed. One of them for them. So, once again, it's Jaguar luck. I mean, it's just coming up short. So, I mean, I think Gus needs to get a couple more wins under his belt, or I think Gus Bradley could be in trouble in Jacksonville. So I would kind of look out for name. It's sad. I'm going to shame myself, but God, I kind of hope they don't, because if he gets fired, I'd love to have him down here.
Yeah, I think it would be unfortunate if Gus Bradley gets fired, because I don't think that he's definitely growing into the job. There's been some growing pains, but I'm not. You mentioned Blake Bortles, his second season. I'm not convinced that Blake Bortles can be a franchise quarterback.
You know what? And the thing about it is, I think Bortles might cost Gus Bradley's job. As like you said, a good quarterback can make a average coach shine. Bad quarterback, even the best coach can get you canned. So, like I said, it's going to be interesting. But I'm going with Gus Bradley on the hot seat.
Yeah. Sonja?
Let's see. Who else? Here, I'm going through.
Let's talk about the Colts. What do you think about the Colts?
That was my next thing.
They're definitely in a weird
Chuck Pagano, but what's going on with Andy Luck? I think that probably will have a lot to do whether he stays or goes. I think
it's going to depend on who wins that power struggle between Chuck Pagano and Ryan Grigson, and I think it's far too early to pull the plug on Pagano, and I think that Ryan Grigson definitely needs to be fired.
Ooh. Okay, well, here's my question. The Colts are playing the Texans Thursday night, I think in Houston. Yeah, I have to check that out. In Houston, Andre Johnson has got me 0 points in my fantasy league. 0. I have him in 2 leagues. Do I bench him against Houston, or do I keep him in?
I've already moved on from Andre Johnson, and I love Andre Johnson, but
the team that he used to play with, I'm so torn, because it's like, I guarantee you, he's gonna go off. So it's like, do I keep?
Yeah. I was about to say, if you bench him, that's probably what's gonna happen.
Right, within one more week, and then then do it.
Yeah, one more week. This is his rival team. He's gonna want to catch the ball. He's gonna probably go to Luck and say, "Look, you need to throw me the ball. I'm playing the Texans, and I want to show them that I can still catch the ball."
That's right.
Or he can totally tank it, and I can just knock Andrew Luck right out of the game.
I'd say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are due for another epic meltdown, and Lovie Smith could possibly be the next guy to get the axe.
See, I disagree because of Winston. I think that you got
to say. I think Winston is going to keep him there for at least one more year.
Yeah, we'll see.
Winston take his knocks. I mean, he's a rookie quarterback that's going to have to learn, and he's made some good plays. He's learning every game. I mean, one thing that they've always said about Winston, that I know you're not a Winston lady, but He does. They said his work ethic is outstanding. So, I mean, I would probably say that Lovey's got another year under his belt just because of Winston.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, I've always said that on the football field, Jameis Winston, definitely has the talent. You do wonder, football intelligence and all of that. He's still out there throwing all those interceptions, and definitely not seeing the field, like you would want him to. On the other hand, you've got Marcus Mariota, who's definitely outshining him. So I guess we'll see. And part of the reason why I think Lovie Smith wanted to draft, of course, they didn't have a quarterback, was to buy that extra time. But the problem with the Buccaneers goes way beyond the quarterback position.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the personnel decisions outside of Jameis Winston have been concerning, and how they're utilizing their defense has been concerning. And now you're hearing reports, that Lovie Smith took play calling duties away from Leslie Frazier right when their defense was starting to get good. And so you just wonder, you definitely wonder.
I haven't heard that. I haven't heard the internal there. I just, like I said, I just kind of think with Winston there going. The other one that's getting real interesting is man, things are getting hot down there. I wouldn't be surprised if Kaepernick isn't going to see the bench.
Oh, I would think so. I think that's coming a lot sooner than
except isn't Blaine Gabbert the backup, and woof.
Exactly.
I mean, I think that you just have to ride that pony, You just have to.
Over Gabbert. I don't care how bad Kaepernick is. Blaine Gabbert's an interception machine, but again, so is Kaepernick.
Yeah. I mean, I think that you have to stick with Colin Kaepernick. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you sit him for a game. Maybe he gets dinged up in practice or something. You sit him for a game and, give him a little bit of a break from all of that. But you have to ride with him. He's your guy. You just,
you paid him.
Paid him. Yeah, I mean.
I wish we had Kate, because I'd like to see about the Cleveland Browns coach. I wonder if he's safe.
Yeah, well, they like to change coaches fairly frequently. I mean, that's Ken Wisenhunt definitely is. His seat is a little warm. The Marcus Mariota draft selection is going to help there, but if the Titans continue to tank like they have been, their GM could be in trouble, and that's when the coach gets in trouble. This head coach, Ken Wisenhunt, was retained by the current GM, Rustin Webster, the Seattle guy, and Tommy Smith, who took over as CEO after Bud Adams died. He's gone. If they fire the GM, the guys who invested in Ken Wisenhunt are gone. So you've got situations like that.
What about Sean Payton?
Oh.
Do you think that if their team comes together and is able to string together some wins and they start playing like, a normal team again, do you think he stays, or regardless, is he out?
I think about him being on the hot seat. That's one thing you never, I think Benson's one of those owners where I think, like you said, things would really have to tank, because you're right, you don't hear too much. He's one of these coaches that's right on the radar, regardless of kind of their season. Because he's in New Orleans or stuff. And I have to say something. My friend just DM'd me on Twitter. Rob did. And he said, all week, I have to change my coaching selection, Sharona, because all week I've been preaching to any other coach. I would love to see Mike Shula come back to Miami. So I have to throw that in.
Okay.
To some people. And he's just reminded me of that before the New England Patriots guy. So.
It's just so weird to hear people actually want Mike Shula, but that's cool. He's done a lot better lately.
He does. I mean, he's got Carolina 4-0 now. Come on.
Well, I mean,
I kind of it's softly, but we'll see. I mean, I'm not a big Cam Newton fan myself.
I think Sean Payton is safe, because I think that we're seeing, unfortunately, the tail end of Drew Brees' career, and I think that they would let him draft his guy and see if he could do. I think that is their next step. They draft their successor and, give Sean Payton a few years to see if he can, right that ship. That would be, excuse me, that would be my take on it. So, all right, well, another great episode in the book. Sonja, why don't you get us ready to take us out?
All right. Well, thank you again, Lisa, for coming on and joining us and talking Dolphins. We loved that. We got started with our OFRs a little early, so thank you so much for coming on. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you?
Absolutely. You can find me anytime on Twitter, Talking Dolphin Football, at LJ1303. You can also find me on NFLfemale.com. You can also find me on Wednesday nights with NFL Female on Blog Talk. So, tomorrow we'll have another Dolphin show, and we're going to have a couple Dolphin players on to discuss the inside turmoil going on down there. So, but like I said, I appreciate you guys having me on. Always a pleasure being with you, ladies.
All right. Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, thank you so much, Lisa. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at mom2 3RN, talking any and everything Lions related. Thanks everybody last night for trying to make me feel better after the loss. Y'all are the best.
We felt so bad for you.
You guys all did. I appreciate
it. For my bae.
I was like, I can't let them do this to me again, but of course, you had to just get into it and see what happened. But thank you guys so much. I really, really, really appreciate it. Congrats to Nina and all the other 12s out there. It was a good game, and the Lions did play a little better than I thought. They didn't get run out the clink, so there you go. There's that.
All right, well, I am Sharona. You can follow me on Twitter at Sports by Sharona. You can also check out my latest will probably be posted maybe tomorrow, talking about the Dolphins, the first team to drop the hammer, and the heartbreaking loss by the Detroit Lions last night. Up next for NFL Female will be first quarter awards. But in the meantime, you can check me out in the morning, Back Talk with Sharona. Simone Bridges is going to join me. We'll be interviewing Nadine Liverpool. She is a sports personality up in Canada. Very excited to have her. And Ali Fontana is going to join us for fantasy football. So tune in to that. And tomorrow night, Going for Two with me and Zach. Definitely check it out as well. Shout out to Liz. Jump on our website and check out all the great stuff going on there, www.nflfemale.com. We'll be back next week with another great show, and Kate will be with us, so stay tuned in. Have a great evening.